Sitting on the flight to San Diego on Friday, and I'm reading my Time magazine, and it's a nice article. I think it was Time. Yeah, a nice article about Mitt Romney in his younger days and how his mother ran for the United States Senate and so forth. And all of a sudden, I come across the name Richard McLellan, who was quoted in Time magazine, our friend, the attorney from the Lansing area, who is very politically active, and he's with us right now. Mr. McLellan, how are you?
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
So Time magazine called you, huh?
Yeah, apparently they called the governor Engler, and then he referred him to me, and I referred him to Fred Grassman, who is also frequently mentioned, who actually lived with the Romneys. But they picked one quote of mine, and
yeah,
I'm sure everybody in the world has now read it. I'm not going for an appointment from President Mitt Romney, but
well, let me just sort of paraphrase it. What you said was that even though you're a Republican, you can't warm up, something like that. You can't warm up to Mitt Romney. You said that to Time magazine?
I did say that.
Is that true?
Yeah, and he asked me to compare him with his father, George Romney, who I worked for and really was the guy who got me started in politics. And just as a comparison, if you knew George Romney, Mitt Romney is a different kind of a guy. And but I'll tell you, he is my candidate for president. And with what happened in Wisconsin and the kind of governor we've got in Michigan showing you can make changes, I'm for Mitt. Do I warm to him? No. But I don't think I don't warm to Obama either. I don't think we have to warm to our political leaders. We need competence. And so notwithstanding my quote in Time magazine, that I suffered for.
I bet you have.
I'm for Mitt Romney for president.
You know, Father Mark Inglet once said something to my wife and I. He said, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but sometimes it rolls."
That could be. They're just two different people.
Yeah.
And we have to get used to it. But there's a lot of attention in the press to Mitt Romney, his parents, and so on. And I'm actually not. I'm more interested in the local races with the Griffin Rivers, Ted O'Dell race, and some of the other things that are going on for the state legislature. So
you know, I because I worked for J.P. McCarthy, I was lucky. I got to meet. I got to meet Mitt's father, the former governor, and when he would come into the Fisher Building, man, you better sit up straight because he wasn't passing through that room without talking to everybody, George Romney, and you know he was really colorful and boisterous almost, you know what I mean? And I don't see Mitt Romney that way. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, George Romney, when he walked into the room, you knew there was a powerful force there, and just his personality was open and. Maybe it's because he was a lobbyist. I don't know. Maybe George Romney in his earlier days. But he was a very powerful figure in Michigan with the new Constitution, with, frankly, passing the income tax. We'd had payless paydays. So he has a great record. I personally think Mitt Romney could have a great record as president. We got to give it to him and give him a chance, and that's the issue. And that's why there's some stories about the contrasting and so on. But
do you remember being around Mitt when he was a kid?
I do not.
No.
I do. I remember seeing him. You know, I was about 6 or 7 years older, is all, and maybe a little more than that. But no, I don't remember. He's just one of the Romney kids.
It is fascinating, though, to read that article because it talks about how Mitt was involved in his mother's run for United States Senate. And that didn't go so well, and it really made George Romney very angry at Bill Milliken, from what I read, the guy who succeeded him when George Romney went to take a cabinet post.
Well, I can tell you that some of that tension is true. I was Lieutenant Governor Milliken's driver when George Romney was the governor, and I remember the Lenore Romney race. I remember sitting in the Jack Tar Hotel where they picked Lenore to run, and then Governor Milliken was not real enthusiastic about it.
Isn't that interesting? Because, I mean, you would think he would have shown some loyalty, Governor Milliken, to the Romneys since Romney picked him as a running mate, right?
No, Romney did not pick him as a running mate. People don't realize that.
You didn't do it that way back then?
Lieutenant Governor Milliken beat the Speaker, Allison Green, in an open race. George Romney decided not to pick a lieutenant governor. Oh. And he let Milliken won the convention on his own.
Well, that explains it.
Yeah, it's a history that people always assume the candidate picks the lieutenant governor. He didn't. We had two great candidates. Allison Green was gave me my job as a janitor in the Capitol, so I actually supported him over Milliken.
You're connected to everybody. Is there there's no one you're not connected to.
Milliken got me my real start, but as part of the Romney-Milliken team. So I respect them both, and we've had some pretty good politicians in this state, and it's been fun to be part of the history of it since I'm now a practicing septuagenarian.
In the last minute that we have, Richard McLellan, you say you don't warm up to Mitt Romney. He's not like his father. If he were sitting in front of you in your office today asking you for advice, what would you say?
I would say keep on course, focus on the economy, go to those swing states. Don't let up on the public employee unions. We have to address some of the cost structure, and it's tough to say that in Lansing, especially my relatives that work for the government. But I think he's on the right track. I don't think he can have a personality transplant. I don't expect him to be warm and fuzzy. Hey, we elected Barack Obama, who is about the opposite of warm and fuzzy. So I think the public he can sell himself to a majority of the country if he keeps on the same course. And so I might have some advice on issues, but on a campaign, I've learned that's not my forte.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Say hi to Fred Grassman for us, too.
Right.
He was quoted in the article, too, and with us on our trip to Cuba back in December. So it'll be nice to run into him downtown, too. That's Richard McLellan, who has known the Romneys for donkey's years. And in Time Magazine said you can't quite warm up to him the way he warmed up to his father. 8 minutes before the hour, Michael Patrick Shiels.